heart. So the heart is an organ. It has a mass of around 300 grams, and the heart, it is whole muscular organs located in the center of the chest cavity, and it is being protected in the chest by a sac which is known as a pericardium. So pericardium is a tough fibrous sac which surround the whole heart. So you can see this is required pericardium. So they will help to protect the heart. Yeah, so you can see the heart, right, is made from the muscle because what? The cardiac muscle, which is kind of specialized muscle tissue only found in the heart, not in other part of organ. The heart is divided into 4 chambers, so you can see, which is the left side and the right side. So it made from the left and right atriums and left and right ventricles. And then the left side and the right side of hearts is being separated by the septums. So you can see septums. It's just like the wall separate the both left side and right side. 就好像一堵墙那样子. And then these septums, right, if the septums are located between the left ventricles and right ventricles, it's called as what? It's called as the interventricular septum. Interventricular septum. But if the septum are found between the left and the right atriums, right, they call as what? They call as the interatria septum. The septum is very important to ensure the blood doesn't mix between the left side and the right side. Okay, because it helps to avoid mixing of the oxygenated from the left side and the deoxygenated from the right side. So you can see this left side, right, is consists of the oxygenated blood. But however, the right side, right, they mainly consist of the deoxygenated blood. And then you need to know about the flow of the blood in the heart, okay? So this is we learned before in the IGCSE. So which is initially the blood, right, they will flow from the left side of the atriums to the left ventricles, and then they will go to the aorta, okay? So which is, they will be like in this way. Okay, from the left atriums to the left ventricles, they will go to the aorta. Yeah, so from the aorta, right, from the aorta, they go to the systemic artery. So the systemic artery, they are referred to the artery which is connected to the organs, which including the venous, hepatic arteries. And then from the artery, they will join to the network of the blood capillary. So from the blood capillary, they will be allow the exchange of the materials with the body tissue, with the body cell. So the gaseous exchange will happen at the capillary beds. Yeah. So they will take in the oxygens by the cells, and then the cell will release the carbon dioxide back to the blood capillary. So that's why the red blood cell can help to transport the oxygens to the body cell, and also they can help to transfer the carbon dioxide away from the body cell back to the blood capillary. So later the blood capillary will be joined to the systemic vein, okay, which is the vein connected to the organs, including the renal vein, hepatic vein, and any kind of veins. So later the veins, right, what they can do is they will collect the blood from the body cell, and then they will transfer the deoxygenated blood. So you can see they start to transfer this deoxygenated blood through the vena cava back to the right side of heart. So from the right atrium to the right ventricles, they will just go to the pulmonary artery. So pulmonary artery is like here, okay? Yeah, so just imagine that this is the artery, right? Yeah, so from the aorta, okay, from the aorta, they just move to the artery. Just move to the artery. Okay, later from the artery, they will just move to the blood capillary. which is they are associated with the body tissue. So from the blood capillary, they will move to the vein. Okay, so here is a vein. Then from the vein, right, they will be back to the vena cava. And then the vena cava will help to collect the deoxygenated blood back to the right side of the heart. So from the right atriums, then they will go to the right ventricles. So from the right ventricles, they will go to the pulmonary artery. So from the pulmonary artery, right, they will go to the lungs, okay, which is a lung. And then you should able to know, and then you should know the difference in the thickness for the left ventricles and the right ventricles. So just remember that the left ventricle, right, they have a thickest wall, okay, much more thicker compared to the right ventricle. So you can see, right, if you want to compare the thickness of the wall, left ventricle, they have much more thicker than the right ventricles. So right ventricle is much more thinner, So that's why the left ventricles, they can generate the high pressure to pump the blood from the heart to all part of body to the aorta. Later, the right ventricles, they have a thinner wall, so that's why they generate the lower pressure, and then they can pump the blood from the right ventricles to the pulmonary artery back to the lungs. Generally, blood passes through the heart twice in one complete circuit, so it is known as closed double circulatory system. It's because it consists of two types of circulations, pulmonary circuits and the systemic circuit. 就说这个血液啊，它是经过心脏2次完成一个循环，包括这个 pulmonary circuit 肺循环跟 systemic circuit 体循环。所以the bloods, right, when they pump out from the left side of the ventricles through the aorta, so you can see here is the aorta. So from the aorta, they will help to transport the oxygenated blood. So you can see this red color is the oxygenated blood to all part of the body through the blood capillary. So they will enter to the systemic circuit. So just imagine here is a body cell. Okay, here will be a lot of body cell closely associated with the blood capillary. So there will be exchange of material happens. 就说在这个毛细微血管，它们是非常靠近这个身体细胞，所以它们会互相交换物质。所以 body cell, they will do what? They will do the cellular aerobic respirations. So remember the cellular aerobic respiration, the equations, which is the C6H12O6 plus O2. And then they break down the glucose by the oxygens to release the carbon dioxide, water, and also the energy. So their purpose is to release energy. So that's why they can uptake the oxygens. The body cell, they will uptake the oxygens. And then they will release the carbon dioxide back to the blood capillary. So that's why the deoxygenated blood will flow back to the veins and being collected by the vena cava. So the vena cava will transport the deoxygenated blood from all part of the body tissue, go back to the right side of the heart. So from the right atriums to the right ventricles, the right ventricle will pump this deoxygenated blood through the pulmonary artery. So you can see here is the pulmonary artery back to the lung. So the lung, they will do the exchange of the gas. So they will help to convert the deoxygenated blood become the oxygenated blood again through the inhalation and exhalation. Because what the lung will do, the lungs, right, they will inhale the oxygens and then they will exhale the carbon dioxide. So the oxygenated blood will flow back through the pulmonary veins from the lung and go back to the left atriums. So that's why the atria, okay, there will be two atria. Okay, the left atria and the right atria. 它们这个墙壁是非常的厚啊，它们负责是接收这个血液。And then the ventricle, okay, two ventricle at below, right? 它们的墙壁是比较厚的所以你要知道 okay, left ventricles, they have a thickest wall compared to the right ventricles. But the ventricles wall is much more thicker compared to the atrium wall. 就是说下面两个 ventricle 它们那个墙壁是非常厚的，因为它们负责去泵这个血液。 And then we have a look on the valve. Okay, so in total, in the hearts, right, they will have 4 types of the valve. So there will be we call as the semi-lunar valve. So the semi-lunar valve includes the aortic valve and the pulmonary valve. So this and this, right, they will be the semi-lunar valve, okay? Yeah, which is this one, semi-lunar valve, aortic valve, and the pulmonary valve. And then how about another one, which is the atrioventricular valve. So the atrioventricular valve, they consist of the tricuspid valve and the mitral valve, or sometimes we call it as the bicuspid valve. So this is we know as the atrioventricular valve. Yeah, so you can see it's found between the right atriums and the right ventricles, which is the tricuspid valve. And another one is between the left atriums and left ventricles, which is called as a bicuspid valve. So this valve consists of the tricuspid valve and the bicuspid valve. So for the semi-lunar valve consists of the pulmonary valve and the aortic valve. So you need to know the location of the valve. So what's the function of valve is the valves, they will help to keep the blood flowing in the forward directions, which is only in the one direction only. They want to prevent backflow of the bloods, 避免这个血倒流回去. So another function is they will help to maintain the correct pressures within the heart chambers. So they will help in the pressure control. Okay, and then how is the mechanisms of the valve? So the valve, they will able to open and close. So you can see this picture showing about the valve, right, which is in the closed stage. So that's why this is requires tricuspid valve, because it have about 3 valves. Okay, this is called mitral valve, only have 2 valves. Or sometimes another book, right, requires bicuspid valve. So the valve able to open and close. So when will the valve will open? So the valve will open is when the pressure behind the valve is higher than the pressure in front. 就是说, for example, right, you can see this is the opening of tricuspid valve. So the tricuspid valve will open is because when the right atriums, right, they have a higher pressure than the right ventricle, so they will open. But what happens if now the blood, okay, so that's why when the valve opens, the blood able to transport from the right atriums to the right ventricles. So after the blood enters the right ventricle, right, so the right ventricles, they will contract. So when they contract, they will increase in the pressure. So when they increase in the pressures, in order to prevent backflow of the heart, so that's why the valve, right, they will shut down, okay, they will just close. So they will close when the pressure in front of the valve, which is on the right ventricles, become higher than the pressure behind, which is in the right atriums. So the valve will close when the right ventricles higher pressure than the right atriums, so it will close. Same to the left side. Okay, same to the left side. So what will happen if when the left atriums become higher than the left ventricles, right, it will cause the opening of the mitral valve. So when the left ventricles, they have a higher pressure than the left atrium, right, they will close. The valve will shut down. So you need to know about the name of these 4 types of valve. Okay. Sometimes the exam will ask about general names. So you also can write the general name, which is semi-lunar valve. So the semi-lunar valve comprise of the aortic valve and the pulmonary valve. And also the atrial venicular valve, right? They are comprised of the mitral valve and the tricuspid valve. The wall of ventricles are thicker than the atrial wall. It's because the ventricles, they require higher force to pump the blood to the whole body, especially the left ventricles. So the right ventricles, they need to pump the blood. So you can see, right, this is the right ventricle. So what they will do is they will pump the blood to the lungs. Okay, so lung is nearer to the heart. But the left ventricles, they will need to transport the blood. Okay, they need to pump the blood to the whole part of the body cell. Yeah. From the heart, right, to whole body tissue. So the body tissue, they are further distance away from the heart. So that's why the left ventricles, they require higher pressures. So that's why the left ventricle, they has a thicker wall, okay, thicker wall compared to the right ventricles, because the right ventricles only pump blood to the lung, which is nearer, but the left ventricle will pump blood to whole part of the body, entire body. So if the right ventricles, they pump the blood to the lungs, right, with a very high pressure, it will lead to formation of tissue fluid. So the tissue fluid will accumulate in the lung, lead to the edema. Edema means 水肿. So why is this happen? Is because that if the right ventricles, they generate the high blood pressure to pump to the lungs, okay, to pump to the pulmonary capillary in the lungs, it will lead to the condition like this. So just imagine that this is from the pulmonary artery, which is from the right ventricle, right? Yeah, so now it has increased in the pressure. So that's why the blood will be pumped to the pulmonary capillary under the very high blood pressure. Okay, so that's why the high blood pressure will lead to the high hydrostatic pressure at the arterial ends of the pulmonary capillary. So it will increase in the hydrostatic pressures. So what is meant by hydrostatic pressure? 静水压. So hydrostatic pressures will force the fluids, okay, the fluid inside the blood plasma go out through the pores between the blood capillary wall. So more fluid is being forced out of the capillary to the tissue space. Okay, so here will be the tissue space. So there's a lot of tissue fluid in the tissue space. So it results the fluids accumulate in the lungs, lead to the pulmonary edema. Pulmonary edema refer to the 肺水肿. Yeah, because more fluid is being forced out to the capillary more than the fluids being reabsorbed, because the hydrostatic pressure is too high already. So just imagine this way. 当这个血经过这个肺部的毛细微血管的时候，因为 pump 的这个力量太大了，所以会导致这个血管里面这个 hydrostatic pressure 就是说血管里面这个静水压 hydrostatic pressure 会升高。所以就可以想想，就是说这个水管里面的这个水压太大了，所以这个水会拼命的想从这个管壁的这个微孔 ，OK， 这个 pore between 的这个 endothelial cell 就是说这个 pore between 的这个 capillary wall 从这个微孔里面喷出来。而在这个正常情况下，毛细微血管会有这个少量的这个液体渗出进去这个 tissue space， 变成这个 tissue fluid， 就叫组织液。可是在这个非常 high hydrostatic pressure 的情况下，所以这个 pushing force 远大于把这个液体拉回来这个 blood capillary 的这个 osmotic pressure， 就是说 more fluid is being forced out than the fluid being reabsorbed back to the venule ends of the capillary， 有更加多的这个 fluid forced out to the blood plasma，OK， 可是有比较少的这个 tissue fluid reabsorbed back to the blood plasma，OK， 所以就是会导致大量的这个 blood plasma 里面的这个水分强行输出去到这个 tissue space。所以这些漏出来这个液体啊，它们无处可去。OK， 就想很多这个液体嘛，对不对？它漏出来了，所以它们会聚集到这个肺泡，就是 alveoli 里面的这个组织缝隙，甚至进入这个肺里面这个内部，所以这个叫做 pulmonary edema。所以 this is very dangerous, okay? It will cause a very impact, which is very dangerous because this will increase the diffusion distance for the oxygens。就说这个气体交换呢，它们必须要穿过这个液体层，所以它会导致这个氧气嘛，它很难穿透这个厚厚的水分进去这个血里面，所以会导致这个 gas exchange become impaired， 呼吸变得非常的困难。